Good morning. It's Thursday, August 21st, 2014. This is Tech Talk Today, episode 47, and my name is Chris, and I am joined. Boy, look at this council we have with us today, an epic council of Mumble citizens. Time-appropriate greeting, Mumble Room.
Thursday, August.
And my name is Eric.
And my name is Eric. We got the day, we got an it's good. It's all over the place, but it's good. And by the way, you can always join our Mumble Room to comment on the stories that we're covering. Go over to jblive.tv, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. And then when you get up in that chat room, you can do the magic bang mumble, and it will tell you our Mumble server address. You can join in here. We just vet your mic first, so you got to have a good working mic setup, and you can join us. And you could talk about things like our first story today, and that is a really interesting back and forth between the information and other outlets like Recode. If you're not familiar with the information, there's probably a good reason for that. You can only read the information if you pay them, I think it's $1,200 a year. I might have that price wrong, but I think when they launched, it's a $1,200 a year news subscription site. But they promise for that $1,200 unparalleled exclusive reporting. And the idea is that if you are in the news industry, maybe you have a show like Tech Talk Today, and you have to report on things and you want exclusives, well, then you pay this gatekeeper price and you get that exclusive information. So the information has been reporting that Verizon will be launching an app store of their own. They say Verizon is going to launch its own app store in an effort to compete with Google Play Store on Android devices. The new store will be available globally and is the result of a partnership with other carriers and hardware makers, according to the information's report. In 2010, Verizon launched a similar app store for Android and BlackBerry smartphones in the U.S., but it shuttered it in January of 2013. The information says that the discussions for the new app store are still in the early stages, and there's no concrete date yet. Now, this is where things get a little interesting, because Recode said, actually, we've received a statement from Verizon saying, and I quote, "We have no plans to do that." This is from Verizon spokesperson Deborah Lewis. She says, "Been there, done that." Direct quote from Deborah Lewis. Been there, done that. Then the information responded, "I and the information stand by this report 100%. Verizon is misleading you." That's from the information. The information claims this new effort is a response to recent cutbacks from Google in revenue sharing with carriers and hardware makers for apps sold through the Google Play Store. Verizon would be stemming future losses with its own app store, because they believe that revenues from app store sales are expected to grow significantly over the next few years. Now, isn't that interesting? I wonder, would that be from volume or would that be from price increases? But either way, Verizon believes that there's more revenue coming from app stores soon. It's probably a fairly safe bet. The report says that Verizon would also like to use data location, time of day, and social indicators to recommend apps to users. So you got Recode saying this is crap. You've got the information saying, not only is this not crap, but the people who are saying it's crap are crap. And you have two very fairly well-respected news outlets reporting two completely different things. Plus, you've got Verizon saying, "Yeah, we're not doing that." They've literally been there, done that. I kind of think they're going to do it. What do you guys think? Eric, would you be surprised to hear a Verizon App Store launch mid-2015?
No, this is something they've experimented with before. As a former Verizon subscriber, I could tell you they have, their whole, what do they call it? They had their
the
TV
VCast store,
service.
the VCast stuff. Yeah. I remember that. I was a Verizon customer for a little while. I had that.
Yeah, they've had it before. So what's going to stop them from doing it again? And this time getting the ad revenue for themselves. Are they going to be as popular as Google Play Store? No, which is why I don't think it's a good idea for them.
I bet you it'll suck, and I bet you no one will care, and they will make tons of money off of it anyway.
See, here's why I think they have to do it. I think Verizon has to do it from their perspective. I don't think they should do it. I'll just put that out there right now. Here's why I think they feel like they have to do it. They're sitting on top of, get ready for it, it's everybody's favorite buzz term, big data, right? They've got everything about you. Every phone call you make, every text message you send, every place you've driven, even if you have every tracking software turned off on your phone, they've still got you by cellular tower. They know your billing address. They know your name. They know every single thing about you. They know your demo. They know you so much more than what Google or Apple knows you.
Actually, the other guys who actually try to cross-market whatever through there, they try to actually
It sucks,
sell
right.
ads.
I know.
Yeah, okay,
It sucks,
okay,
yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
But think about this. See, Verizon, here's why I think Verizon's so going to do this. Because they are already rolling out an ad-based service that will look at where you're at in their cellular network. And if you have stopped in some certain stores on your path before, they will send you notifications of ad promos for those stores. Why wouldn't they see this as an amazing opportunity to integrate this with an app store? And if they say in their own reports that app store revenues are going to be going up over the next few years and they are not getting a cut from Google Play like they want, it seems like they would do this. It kind of just seems like dumb companies are going to continue to be dumb, and when you get to the size of Verizon, you can't help yourself but do stupid things like this.
Yeah, totally. Well, what's hilarious is that like they have not managed to perfect their actually marketing of their spyware to. I mean, they've been talking about this stuff for forever.
Yeah.
And they've been doing it for forever, and like they still suck at it.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Well, what's interesting too is they could offer special promotional discounts, like opt in to our tracking services, and we'll give you a weekly free app, kind of like Amazon does, or a daily free app. Like the
for
app
being our slave.
Right, because, and I could see this because there is certain areas in the United States now that are offering their customers free upgrade to like considerably faster bandwidth, upload and download, if people will opt in to their ad enhanced tracking where they get to watch your traffic and then people buy that data from the ISP and then send you snail mail and send you crap in your mail based on what you've been browsing. ISPs are already getting in this game. You could see how as wireless carriers become more of our ISPs, as we do more and more over our wireless carrier, they're going to have more and more data, and they will look at that as a treasure trove that it is their mandate to mine.
Well, of course. I mean, this is. I mean, we are their product. We are their slaves.
Pretty much.
Negative in the freedom revenge.
And it really does. You know what? This next story, boy, this next story really kind of takes it to the next level. The Brazil court has issued an injunction against Secret. You guys might be familiar with one of the new social network apps, Secret. But here's what's crazy. This injunction calls for the app to be removed off of everyone's device. So not just to remove the device or the app from the App Store in Brazil, but then pull the device from every single phone it's been installed on. This is pretty nuts, but Yeah,
what the hell is going on with that?
I'll tell you the reason. Tell me what you think. So here's the background. So the Brazil court has ruled that Apple and Google must remove Secret, the anonymous social network app, from their mobile software stores and from user devices where it's already installed. This is a preliminary injunction in the case pending the results of a final ruling. As a result of the complaints by users harmed by rumors spread via the app who said that the app was used to share an intimate photo of himself, which included a personal and identifying information, his full name, and his telephone number that's up on the network. So the injunction goes
you're junking your pants or quit whining.
Wow. Here's the other thing, is if Apple and Google and Microsoft don't comply, they'll be fined $9,000 per day following a 10-day grace period since this injunction was issued yesterday.
Better be $9,000 per user, I would hope.
I don't know exactly. It doesn't say in the article, but
insane.
So we know this though. We know they have the capability to go in. They almost never do it, but they have done it before, to go in and actually delete apps off your phone. This is another reason why I'm just I don't like the idea of the carrier being the guy or the company that sells me my phone, the company that sells me my service, the company that sells me my apps. That's too much power in one area. And then they also want to become our payment gateways, right?
Ding.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing about Brazil, though. They do not have a free speech or free anything like our First Amendment. In fact, they have laws saying you don't have those rights in some cases. So it's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not exactly true. So they have constitutionally protected right of free press and things like that.
Okay.
They do have the things, and some laws are unlawfully passed. That's the problem, and people don't notice. So they could actually overthrow those laws, but just because people are not aware.
But is this even a free speech thing?
No,
is having an app
is that private industry?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you are playing in their sandbox. It's kind of like you went to an event park, and the event park has to now shut down a ride because it violated a safety regulation by the federal government.
Exactly.
Well, having that said, that there is a difference like between the applicability of the law once it goes off the hands of the company. So when it's in the individual rights,
on my device.
Yes, it's already your device. That's not in the clause of the company term.
I guess the bigger issue would be if there was actually data that was associated, like let's say you created a profile, like maybe you had text messages or whatever that were specific to that app. Then,
right.
I mean, then you would actually own that
and what
data, but you'd not be able to get access to it.
What if it wasn't secret? What if it was Twitter? Now, if you,
Exactly.
I'm not like Mr. Twitter over here, but if you took away my ability to use Twitter, it would damage Jupiter Broadcasting to a degree. It wouldn't put us in the ground, but it would harm our ability to communicate with our audience. And so if I use Twitter for my, if I use Twitter, well, that's true. If I use Twitter for my business though, and then my government orders that Twitter is deleted off of my phone, that's now just harmed my business.
Yeah, well, and then think about like the content, just like just the value you have from having like contacts organized inside of Twitter. Blah. That would, I mean, I know some people that would like just destroy their entire livelihood. Actually.
Yeah. Yeah. No good. All right. Well, let's move on. One more app story, and then we'll get off apps, and then we'll move on to a piece of hardware. And then and some follow-up. So Uber, you guys are probably familiar with the Uber ride service, kind of a neat, and you could see too how maybe Uber would play into self-driving cars one day and things like that. Uber is, to put it mildly, freaking excited about their new API they've launched. They've also announced 11 partners that will be using the API, including OpenTable, TripAdvisor, United Airlines, Starbucks, and others. So yesterday, the company announced their API. It'll become available to app developers. 11 launch partners have already signed up. The introduction of its API is designed to increase reach and get in front of lots of new potential customers. It's trying to appeal to as many app developers as possible. So here's an idea. So picture this. You go to Hyatt Hotels and Resorts. They're also a new partner. Or you go to the Hinge, or you go to Starbucks, or you're at United Airlines, or anybody that's an OpenTable partner, which is huge. You go to these places, and then when you're wrapping up, say you're at United Airlines and you need a ride, you will have the ability to just say, I'm right here. The app will know all of that information and send it to an Uber ride. I'm guessing. I'm just kind of piecing this together from what I've read here. And it sounds like it might be an incredible way to just sort of make vehicles much more on demand in a sense. Like Uber's already doing that because you're able to share rides and things like that. But think about now, like you could go to Starbucks. The Starbucks app could just have an Uber function in it that gives the Uber system all of the information it needs. It just sounds really neat, and potentially, like Starbucks could even offer like Uber discounts, or I don't know what they could do. I'm not a big Uber user. I don't know what the potential would be, but what I get really excited about is the way that this mobile technology that's just in our pockets, by having computers in our pockets now, we have an opportunity to sort of restructure the way we look at transportation. And I think an API for a service like Uber is actually going to be kind of a big deal. They went out to say that like this, they said it several times in their press, when somebody was interviewing their lead press person, they said, this is huge for us. Wait, hold on. I want to underscore this. Then they say, this is really huge for us. So maybe it is. We'll see, huh?
Emphasis on the really.
Yeah. It's like, no, I got to restate that. This is really huge. Okay, little piece of hardware, just kind of interesting if you're an e-reader fan, if you like yourself a little bit, a tablet a little bit on the smaller side, and you want something that's a great price. This Samsung is one of the first Nook partners. They've announced the Samsung Nook Barnes & Noble tablet for $180 US today. It's kind of got a long name, but it actually looks kind of compelling for a little device. Here's the details you probably want to know about it. It's basically based off the Galaxy Tab 4 too. The name is a mouthful, but it basically means that the tablet is a rebrand version of the existing Tab 4. It's part of a low-end line. It has a 1280 by 800 display, 7 inches across. I think it's got like a dual-core processor. I didn't grab that spec. Running on Android. There you go. Go get yourself a Nook, everybody. Go get yourself a Nook. Hey, before we get to
Hold on, they're still making Nooks?
Yeah, I know, right? Well, no, they are not actually. That's what's interesting about this story is it's Samsung that is making the Nook as part of a Nook partnership. So now the Nook folks are hoping lots of people jump in on this. Before we get to the feedback, we've got a few things to follow up on, and then we have one last news story that for some of you out there will hit a little bit maybe of a sad note, but it's just a sign of the times. Don't get too upset. Why don't we talk about something positive first? Patreon.com/today, where you can go to invest in the Jupiter Broadcasting Network to keep us on the air, keep us going. This is a fundraiser not for this show. Well, in a sense, it is for the show, but it's for all of the shows. It's for every show. We invest in the network with this. You invest in the network with this. And what we have found since we have launched this show is we have already been given the runway to accomplish some things that have made life a lot better. First of all, we were able to go down to things like OSCON and confidently be able to pay for not just my ride, but also one of our producers' trips down there through the funding of this. Then we're going to places like LinuxCon. But behind the scenes, we're also improving our hardware, or I think it was 3 months ago, we just said, okay, look, we got to hire a guy, have him come in here and work on this kind of stuff. And I realized that's not going to be like a one-time thing anymore. That's probably going to be a more ongoing thing. Somebody comes in and maybe takes care of some lighting issues for us because I'm not an expert in that. Stuff like that costs a couple $100 an hour because these people are high-end professionals that normally we would just have to push off and push off and push off. But now Jupiter Broadcasting has hit the road running, and we want to keep going as fast as possible, and it's time to just grow up a little bit. And you can help us do it without going too commercial to pay for it. Patreon.com/today. Invest in the Jupiter Broadcasting Network. And a big thank you to all 309 patrons. And your swag is coming out soon. Remember, if you have a successful August payment, just a little bit time left. If you have a successful August payment, you will be entered. You'll get the swag. If you get a successful August payment at the swag level. So if you go over to patreon.com/today, you'll see we have some pledge levels. The higher end one is a swag level. Have a successful August swag transaction, and you'll get your swag, and you can drop down to a lower level if that fits your budget. You can pledge any amount you want to over at patreon.com/today. Thank you, everybody. All right, so a little bit of feedback. Yesterday, I did a little experiment. I've been trying to gauge if daily is the right format for Tech Talk Today. It wasn't wholly my idea. I have a very clever wife, I will admit that. But we talked yesterday about a story where Facebook was going to introduce a sarcasm hashtag, and we questioned if that was really necessary. The next story was a satirical story. And I was curious, how many of you would write in and say, guys, don't you know that's a satire? Guys, and yes, I was being a little tricky. I was testing you. But I was curious to see how much engagement we would get. And we got a few. We got about 3 people. I think one of them is in our chat room right now, looks familiar. But I checked the email this morning, and I didn't see any emails on it. And I didn't see anybody in the subreddit mention it either. I think maybe one person on YouTube got it too, or maybe 2. So I'm questioning if daily is maybe the right format, and I'm suspecting perhaps engagement has dropped off a bit because daily shows there's a lot to keep up with. So let me know what you think. If you would leave a comment in the subreddit techtalktoday.reddit.com, because that's another thing I'm watching is it doesn't seem like the Reddit has got a lot of traction, and I could use your help picking stories. It might be that a daily show doesn't necessarily need a subreddit. Maybe it's just not really the right format, and I'm totally okay with that too. It could also mean that perhaps this would work better as a weekly show. So these are things that I'm kind of considering right now. And there was 2 things we did this week, actually. The first one wasn't actually the water bucket story to test your engagement. The first story this week to test your engagement was the if Linux distros were superheroes. And again, not a very strong response. Could be because it's kind of a wish-washy subject. But I was just trying to test the water, doing a little Facebook-style feed experiment, if you will. And here's what we got for the superheroes one. Not too bad. Okay, Mumble Room, tell me what you guys think of this. OpenSUSE is the Hulk, green, and never make him angry. Fedora Core is Doctor Strange. Debian is Debian derivatives. You cut off the head of 1 or 2 and it will take its place. Arch Linux is Nova. All the power of the Nova Corps in your hands, so go save the universe. And BSD is Doctor Doom.
Is this a pitch up?
That was John Clark, 1337. And then... So Masselblom writes in, it says, Ubuntu is, he's going Ninja Turtles, I think, yeah. Ubuntu is Leonardo, the leader. Kubuntu is Donatello, because he's got lots of gadgets. Zubuntu is Raphael. Lubuntu is Michelangelo. And Debian is Splinter. And Mint is Shredder. That's not bad. That's not. I like just going all Ninja Turtles. That was a good take on it. So that was fun. And I am reading the emails. I try to respond to most of them. I don't necessarily read them all in the show because I mostly only do feedback on Thursdays. But do let me know. Would you maybe like to see? Maybe we could turn Tech Talk Today into like an hour-long Friday show that's more of we discuss all of the big stories in one go, and then you have one show to download instead of 3 or 4 shows to download in a week. We could go less daily shows. We could do 3 shows a week. I just want to know, because I don't want to kill myself for a show that it's not getting a lot of engagement, so we can just make adjustments. It's early enough in the show's life that we still have time to sort of tweak the formula to whatever you guys like the best. So I'd love your feedback in the Reddit page. Mumble Room, you guys, see, the thing is you're a self-selecting crew because you're here a lot in the mornings, so you probably like this format because that's why you're here.
Yeah, but I think you might actually be misreading, like, it might be like a false correlation, because by virtue of the fact that it is every day, almost every day, there's not like a real, enough time for people to like really,
true, right? Yeah, that's a good
jump
point.
on a Reddit, and
right.
Like that's one of the things about Last.
You got a week.
Reddit. Yeah, totally, and like you can engage with other people.
Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, I like that. That could be it.
I totally agree with that. In fact, I use Reddit personally as a supplement to the news of the day or things that pass during the day. And this show goes on replacing a little bit that. So
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I don't feel like reading a lot or poking around, just pick up the show and you'll have a kind of short summarized, and that's very useful.
Totally, yeah. It's like an hour's worth of, trolling the web, in
Right.
15 minutes.
Okay, all right. It's good feedback. Thank you, guys. And
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm gonna throw my little bit in there. You were talking about yesterday. We had a light crew in Mumble. Well, people have lives. Not everybody can join every day. I mean, I'm one of those people who doesn't have a life, so I can join every day. So,
Well, actually, I would like to make a call out to have some more people stop by and chat with us. And we do have them. We have a great crew today. This is a great turnout today. So, we do have that open Mumble room that is available because we'd like to get your perspective. Because the thing is, the Jupiter Broadcasting audience is a really smart audience, and that you guys have a lot of really interesting insights on these stories. I can tell just by the comments that you give us in the feedback. And sometimes somebody leaves a comment, I'm like, oh man, I wish they would have said that in Mumble during the show. I know you can't make it to every episode, but we do the show live 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, jblive.tv, Monday through Thursday. So if there's one of those days in there, if you get a day off of work or school or something like that and you want to stop in, and from time to time we do have special Friday editions and stuff like that. All right, one more story now that we're out of the feedback segment. Anybody in the Mumble room a current World of Warcraft player? Anybody in the chat room a current World of Warcraft player? No, right? It's like no. Anybody used to play it? Has played it?
I used to play the competitive.
Yeah.
Whoa,
really?
Guild Wars. Yeah, Guild Wars. But like the model of World of Warcraft didn't appeal to me at the time. It just passed.
Yeah, when World of Warcraft first came out, I was actually living in the studio because it was my townhouse back then, and my roommate and I drove up and down the I-5 corridor looking for a boxed copy because that was the only way you bought a game back then when it first came out, was in a boxed copy. And we were coordinating over phones and spreading out. We had like
those were the days.
Yeah, it was and then we got so hardcore into it that we both called in sick to work. We worked at the same place too, which was kind of funny. But then that lasted for about 6 months, and then it kind of faded away. Well, so this story, it shows you how much time has passed. Blizzard, in a recent interview with MCV, says that this was the lead designer, Tom Chilton, admitted that Blizzard isn't expecting to see the MMO grow like it did prior to like the Catechism release. And they say that's because subscription numbers have been on a steady decline since the fourth quarter of 2010. As of Q2 2014, World of Warcraft has 6.8 million subscribers. The upcoming fifth expansion pack, Worlds of Draenor, I think is how you say it, or Draenor, is expected to bring some players back like they always do. Blizzard has indicated it's not unusual to see customers cancel their subscription until a new expansion arrives. Then once that expansion, they re-up. Once that expansion has been consumed, they cancel again. Last week, Blizzard announced that the Warlords of Draenor, I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong to you World of Warcraft players, will be released on November 13th, 2014. So maybe they'll get a little boost. Maybe they would have, maybe we could have released the Linux version by now, Blizzard, huh? I'm just saying. Just saying.
Yeah.
What is the chat room's got a straw poll going? What's the straw poll about? What's this? Do we see this? All right, I'm going to open this up. Corky has busted out a quick straw poll. This sounds.
You,
hey, there we go. He's got a TTT schedule. All right, so I'll embed this in the show notes actually, so folks can vote on this and let us know. Of course, it's not gonna. Of course, don't pick Saturday, or because I'm not gonna do a show on Saturday. Sorry, but you can vote for anything else you want. What's that? Or yeah, Thursday,
Saturday.
Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. We could do a special Saturday show once in a while, but I'm busy on Saturdays. Please, I got a Linux action show to plan for. Jeez. All right, guys. Well, we'll get out of here. This is our last Tech Talk today for this week. We'll be back Monday. You can join us 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, over at jblive.tv, today at jupiterbroadcasting.com. That's the email address. And the best place to go, techtalktoday.reddit.com. Your feedback for any thoughts from the stuff we've discussed in this episode, the questions I have raised, that would be the best place because I check that several times a day. The email, I usually check on Thursdays. Just going to tell you. But you know what? I have gotten some great emails. Thank you. I was kind of, being a Debbie Downer about the engagement. And then this morning I logged in the email. I'm like, oh, boy, we got some great emails. And just people sending in their thoughts about stuff we talked about. It's great. Because I take all of that in and sort of it helps for my opinion. Because like I said, I really do respect the audience's intelligence and opinion. So I love to hear your thoughts on any of the things we have covered. Now, to say goodbye, I'm going to indulge myself a little bit. There was World of Warcraft has had a series of commercials on TV. One of my favorite ones was an early one they had of an Office Space reclip. They re-edited. Yeah, that was great. But that's not the one we're going to do, because when there's a World of Warcraft video with Chuck Norris, you play that World of Warcraft video.
Chuck Norris is a hunter, but Chuck Norris does not hunt. Hunting would imply the possibility of failure. There are 10 million people in the World of Warcraft because Chuck Norris allows them to live.
I'm Chuck Norris, and I approve this game.
World of Warcraft. Try it free at trywarcraft.com.
What's your game?